You're looking at your numbers wrong, and you're looking at the wrong numbers. We can make numbers say anything that we want to say. The numbers you choose will reflect your values. Okay. So look at the numbers that you choose when you are considering those values that are important to you. That seems simple. That seems obvious. However, as we start to look at the numbers that are chosen for us, the numbers that are chosen for your metrics, the numbers that are chosen for payment, reward, praise, all of these things, be looking at what an organization is prioritizing. Here's what I see far, far, far too often in the current state of healthcare. And while this was an important number for the previous space in healthcare, while we were making a lot of technological advances, now that this brilliant new era, the one that you guys are here to usher in, and I'm here to help train you and help you be confident in you and help you really get clear about what you desire and what your dream practice is and then help you come into doing that, right? That's my job. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to train the leaders of the brilliant new era in healthcare. And the brilliant new era in healthcare is one where we bring the focus back to the people. So the numbers that the organizations are looking at, like I said, worked when we were looking at volume, looked when we were looking at efficiency, when we were looking at, hey, we've got all this new technology. What can we ask it to do for us? What can we, what numbers can we use to reflect that it's working? Okay. I've got some stats too in my organization. I've got stats that include numbers of what my clients have made in their practices, that extra $100,000, that extra $90,000, the extra $250,000. But I've also got numbers that they had 60% more clarity in their life, that they had 90% less searching outside of them for the right answers. And the other 10% was just like, oh, what's going on up there? That's fun. Knowing that the answers and the next steps were within themselves. So we can find whatever set of numbers it is that we want, right? I can say, hey, I saw 40 patients in a day, right? Where volume was a priority. Or I can say, I had 14 delighted premium patients and I made the same money. The revenue, the incoming was the same. The costs were less, stress was less, patient retention was higher, marketing costs then were less. What we measure often with technology and what I'm seeing in healthcare and have been seeing is that we're measuring shallow. Right. I see so many coaches training on this level. I see so much social media on this level. I see and that's where I don't stand out, and that's where I'm not flashing because I'm talking about these under the surface deep things, and so many don't want to slow down to really reflect and to look deeper. And some of you, that's exactly what you're looking for. Welcome. My name is Marinda. It's what I do. It's what I teach. Is this deeper, this get to the core. My first program is called Collection, right? It's this collection of mindsets to see that can have you choosing your path and help you get more clear and questions to ask and things to reflect on. Things like I'm talking about this. Which set of numbers are you looking at? Which set of numbers are a priority to you? Right? Numbers, data is a system and a structure that is there to support you, right? One of the core ideas, one of the core concepts is that systems and structures support you. They don't need to constrict you. That comes out of an insecure mindset. We're getting there in just a second. They're building these deeper relationships. Then you have the practice you dream of, and you're developing the relationship with your clients that and your patients that you went for. where you can dig a little bit deeper, where it's not this volume game, right? Where it's not see 40, 50, 60 patients a day, but where it's build quality relationships, right? Where we're reducing the number of patient calls after. So it is worth spending that extra 30 seconds in the exam room because you're going to get rid of a 13-minute phone call or email chain or and that time. Or you can collapse that follow-up time with your patient from those emails, those follow-up visits, those frustrated calls, those trying to get it figured out, to actually building a relationship with your patients, actually taking that extra 30 seconds, 3 minutes, but then that limits the number of follow-ups because they didn't follow the instructions, the number of follow-ups because, yeah, they said that they would do that, but they're not going to actually do that. And so they're right in the same boat. So that was really a wasted visit. So then now you're burnt out and you're frustrated. Where if you take that extra 3 minutes and have that conversation about what actually works for them. No, I'm not saying you're doing this wrong. I'm saying this is what you've been taught. I'm saying this is what they've become accustomed to. There is some training your patients and weeding out of your patients that goes with this, right? Authenticity is providing for the place where you can um, have your values, have your dreams and your desires, and fully express and be you. This is your dream practice, right? As you come and solidify what your dream practice is. Oh my God, I'm throwing so much at you. As you begin to solidify and clarify and get confident about your desires, owning them, who you actually are, your authenticity, and you start putting in and taking those action steps to provide for and protect the place for it to be. Some of that is this referring out the patients that aren't for you, building incredible referral networks because you have this abundance mindset like, hey, I want to see these patients and you want to see those patients and you want to see those patients. And as we get really, really clear, then we know who's for us and who's not. You see? And we can set up those parameters. So the patients that want to have the more in depth calls versus the patients that are looking. This is a whole other topic. I'm going to not go over there right now. Making sure that your values, your desires, the type of resource that you're looking to be and that your patients are looking for, making sure that that is aligned. As you do that, right, we go from how many patients did you see today, triple book the primary care schedule, to really developing relationships with them, getting rid of a lot of the phone calls, extra phone calls, getting rid of some of these follow-up visits. And then you can do more new. You can code higher complexity. You can, now this takes knowing your coding. This takes knowing your numbers. This takes knowing your value and what you value. Two separate things. As we begin to do this, as you begin to really let that system support you, this is not falsifying your coding. This is coding what you're doing. This is knowing your value. Okay. I stress this because I had a provider that was not coding work that he was doing. They went back and rebuilt it was a modifier. It was a second eye modifier for the professional component of a calculation of a work that he was doing. Okay. This was a cataract surgeon and he was not putting the modifier on the second lens calculation and the professionals with all of the surgeons that hadn't coded this way. It was a coder error. They just didn't know. It was a modifier error. They just didn't know. But when he went to value, hey, I'm actually doing that work. It ended up being an extra 250,000 for the practice. Do you know how much they're going to get off your back in a corporate system if you just an extra 250,000? Then you can do what you want. Then they're going to listen to you. but we have to be so great that they're going to listen to you. And if they don't, then you go somewhere else because those patients now are loyal to you and they will follow you to the ends of the earth. And yes, I speak to those of you in the central US. You are my heart. They will follow you. If your NDA is, which, like, you need to know which numbers they're looking at. Because for a time, you need to just fulfill those. You need to just fulfill those. You need to just do it until, like I said, they start to notice you and you start to being able to get the numbers that you are looking for that they can't ignore. When they're like, oh, wait a minute, this is the highest earner in this department. She's using the least resources, has the highest patient survey scores, has the highest referral scores. Oh, wait. So if her volume scores weren't quite as high, but her revenue, her profit margins are the very highest, and she's actually keeping this department afloat, your relationship with that administrator shifts. And or it doesn't, then, like I said, you go elsewhere. But once you've built those relationships, then you can, right? Then you have set up systems and to support you, right? Maybe you have social media, maybe you have word of mouth, email, article that you post once a month, a um religious institution, a community organization that you are in a network of, and then they will speak to those that did the switch for you. Okay, where you don't have to. You set up these systems and structures with what is important to you, then you provide for you. Once you realize that you are providing for you by being you, by valuing what you value, then you can value your desires more and more and more. You get more and more and more confident. You realize how many structures and systems are out there that support you. And then this cycle grows, right? Where you can be more and more you, where you can really value what you value, and then it starts to blow up and narrow itself down and blow up because then you have space, right? And then you're like, what else do I want to bring into my world? And then you filter some of that out and then you have some space again. And then you bring the next thing in. And we get to do this and we get to do this and we get to do this. And there comes a day where you're like, damn, I made some killer decisions before I realized what I was deciding. And this life is fucking amazing. This is my dream practice. This is what I was working so hard toward. This is me following what I knew I wanted it to feel like, but I opened up to what it's going to look like. This is me putting attention into the metrics that matter for me. This is me going deep. This is me, like, yeah, this surface stuff matters, but also what's a priority, what really matters to me, what really differentiates me, what really sets me apart, what really, oh, gets my soul moved is going deeper. So yes, I say this all the time. I could write you a top 10 list of how to be a leader. And yes, I teach leadership programs where I talk about the 6 arcs of light leadership, and I do that. And it is these core concepts of developing the relationships where you're cherished, loved, and respected, building a foundation for empowered and authentic relationships. Okay. That's number one. And then it's this systems and structures piece. It's getting the desire leads. and honoring and valuing what is important to you. It's getting that it takes action and doing and not just giving up on your dreams so matter. And you are worthy of having them and you are worthy of bringing them into being. And I get it. You're not seeing it done right now. It's because you're meant to create it. There is a getting the world the wheel turning, right? Like they talk about the flywheel or the plane taking off, the initial effort that it takes to doing it a new way and to changing a system. And this way of practicing medicine is new, of you having your dream practice, of you understanding that that can be profitable, that it can be prosperous, that it can grow, that it can expand, that it can contract when you're ready to make some shifts in your life, that you can go to next levels. Right? Yes, you're doing it and you're doing it. And people thought you were crazy. And then they thought you were nuts. And then they thought, no, you can't have a fun and fulfilling career as a healthcare provider right now. Yeah, I can. And I'm going to, damn it. And then you do. And then you're making more money than ever as like a byproduct. And then they start saying, how'd you do it? What did you do? And then you start getting invited to train or to bring in more providers or to write that book or to be that speaker. And then we do it again and you go back and hey, in this new light, what relationships do I want to build? What systems and structures do I want to set up? And how am I going to provide for and protect and say yes to me and these dreams and desires and values and my full expression in this light, in this moment? And as we value it more and more and more, as we get more and more clear, as we get more and more confident that we can bring it into being, it happens quicker and quicker and quicker. But these initial steps, getting this initial few of you, right? This is a really, um, those of you light leaders, those of you leaders bringing this brilliant new era in saying, no, I'm done with these surface numbers. I'm done looking at those numbers. Like I'll do it because I need to play your game and we'll play that until I get to a place where I can make a new one. But burnout isn't necessary. Imposter syndrome isn't necessary. These things can come out of medicine, but you're burnt out because you care. Because you care. And you are the leaders. You are the ones that are going to bring in this brilliant new era in healthcare where it's now about the individual again. It's about you. You're the provider. You are the resource. What kind of resource do you want to be for your patients? You get to own that. You get to protect that. You get to create that.